Alright, I'm back. Sorry, I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I don't know if I ran out of space on the phone or with the little video sets. I haven't used this one on YouTube before. I'm recording directly through YouTube. I'm not doing it live, but however, it just shut off on me, so I don't know what happened there. So we'll figure that out. So anyway, Aaron had to be about doing what he was doing. Appreciate him coming in and sharing a little bit. And so what I was talking about before, going back to the transparency stuff, it's like, look, I'm not a perfect man. I am a Christian. I do my best to abide by God's word and to live a righteous life. And I fail miserably sometimes. Quick little bit of my upbringing. I was, my parents divorced when I was 4, and I was the oldest of 4, so my brother was just like an infant. And now, mind you, that's what I was going to say before in the video. So a little side note on this with the transparency is that I'll be mentioning a lot of names, a lot of people. Some people, I want to be transparent, but I will either label just family member or friend or whatever to protect their innocence or guiltiness. If it's my stuff, I'll just be very candid, very straightforward with you guys. And so, talking about, well, people won't. So, Duck Dynasty is not a sponsor. I actually go to Church of the Highlands. This is from the Grow conference that just happened, where our pastor and staff were equipping, empowering pastors. Love being a part of this ministry, but they don't promote they may not necessarily approve of this message. And so, I'm not here representing anybody but me. And of course the people that I'll have on the show with me will represent themselves. And so so I don't want anything that I say or do that should be tagged to anyone outside of what you see right here in this video. And so so that being said, there's certain things that I'll address somewhat vaguely. But as far as my part in it, it will be very, very straightforward with you, very transparent. So anyway, parents divorced at 4. We lived with our grandparents for a couple of years to stop us from going to foster parenting. And so I lived with my nana and my papa, which are my mom's parents, and my uncle, who's 5 years older than me. And so my mom, of course, and then my aunt, which is in between the two of my aunt and uncle as far as age, she had already had moved out. And so so basically, it kind of like my uncle's kind of like my big brother. He was a tough big brother, by the way. And all of my relationships that I can think of right now that were either estranged, they were difficult, rough, or non-existent, I have pursued relationship, forgiveness, and repentance for my part of evil or wrongdoing. So I have a relationship with my mom, with my dad. All of my grandparents are deceased. Am I saying that right? Yes, mom. Yes. And so some adopted grandparents from church and people that I look up to and have tried to adopt some father figures in my life, even at 46 years old. Need that older generation life-giving and encouragement into my life. And so anyway, at 4 years old, lived with grandparents for 2 years. My mom joined the Air Force, remarried to my stepdad, who we had a very rough upbringing with. But once again, I call him Daddy Dan. We're in great relationship. I've got a ton in common with him, and we had a really great time of transparency and healing in our relationship. And in his view, what I consider a very rough and difficult childhood, he thought it was great compared to the rough and difficult childhood that he had. So in his reality, he actually elevated me and my siblings to a better childhood than he had. And so I'm going to, just shoot this on. I thought I'd turn my cell off. I don't know why that notification came on. So anyway, and so you'll be hearing a lot of, because I say that a lot, you'll be hearing a lot of just my history, my journey. And one thing I want to share about as far as if I ever went to office, everything that dirt would try to find on me will be sold in these videos. So it's like most folks, I'd say in America, it's to sweep it under the rug. Let's just not talk about. Let's just not talk about that issue. And that's one of the things that I got rid of. And as far as my family is concerned, is like, no, we talk about issues and we don't let things smolder and fester and get infected. That we need to communicate, we need to talk it out, let's walk it out, and so that healing can take place, so that bitterness doesn't take root. Because gosh, man, it's so much. And so I like to say that we put the fun in dysfunctional, and sometimes we put the dis in dysfunctional, and sometimes we even put the shun in dysfunctional. And so I don't know who the owl is in dysfunctional. And that right there is a dad joke, grandpa joke, and some of my pathetically sad need some put some water on it because it's so dry humor. There'll be plenty of that to spare. So, in that journey, at 5 years old, I was introduced to pornography, and that started a 40-year, just shy of 40-year addiction and battle with sexual sin. And so had sex before marriage, who became my wife, but then was an adulterer, committed adultery after marriage. Well, can only commit adulteries if you are married. And so, but it created this sickness inside of me. I don't want to say sickness because that makes it sound like it's not my fault. Because I take full responsibility for all my actions. But I went through a series called the Conquer series by Dr. Ted Roberts, which was incredible. Basically, communicating and I guess you want to use the word assimilating how a sexual addiction is the same as a cocaine addiction or an alcohol addiction, that it actually creates dopamine and this chemical release in your brain that just makes you want more and more and more. And so that's been part of my journey. And so I'm actually 2 years clean sobriety from sexual addiction, from porn, and that lifestyle. And so big props to my church. I went to a Pure Desire small group up north here in a city called Trussville, Alabama. I won't give his whole name, but my brother Tommy, they were just a huge blessing to me. It was a very dark time of my walk. I never had compassion for people that said that they're going through depression. To me, it was like, okay, sing a couple worship songs, read a couple scriptures, take 2 of these, call me in the morning, get over it. I always considered it almost selfishness, and until I went through it myself, and it really opened my eyes to the abyss of what depression is, and just wallowing in, to me, wouldn't say much self-pity, but of a pool of inadequacy, and not knowing what's the Stephen Covey, the search for significance, not feeling significant, not feeling, not unqualified, but disqualified because of past, because of current inadequacies and insecurities. And so that sin held me captive for so long, and I really thought I'd never overcome that. And like I said, that will also be a full episode of itself, just attacking that subject matter. But for me, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie A Beautiful Mind. It's with Russell Crowe. I believe it was based on a true story. Not positive on that. I'm pretty sure it was, though. But basically, Russell Crowe was this genius, and he had schizophrenia or not multi-personality disorder. I believe schizophrenia, because he had other people that he saw in his mind, and he had communication with, and he was living life with, so to speak. And in this process, he almost drowned his son, a baby, and the woman, the wife, was just, I got to get away from you because you're going to hurt our child, and because he's a genius, he was able to cognitively discern the realities that one of the characters in his mind was a little girl, and she never aged. She stayed a little girl, so it helped him. But so through this process, he engaged in life, and he was actually did some teaching at a university. And sorry if you've never seen it, spoiler alert, but he still saw them. He still saw them. He just chose not to acknowledge them. And that's where I believe I had gotten to with pornography, is that I was just always going to have to deal with it. I was always going to have to deal with it. I would never get the chains broken off. It would just be something I would just have to essentially just ignore, or acknowledge that it's there, but choose not to engage. And so I just felt that it was just going to be this constant skeleton. And I tried before. I tried being transparent. I talked to some pastor friends. I talked to, and the sad realities of the 80+% of men that are that look at porn, and many, over half, pastors is what's reported that are engaged in some type of sexual sin. And so it was so difficult. And like even one of the churches that we went to, there was adultery with the pastors, and they wanted to get divorced, and the church folded. And if y'all see this video, you know who you are. You know I love you, and love our time there. But I've been through some rough bouts in ministry and with churches and with pastors and just father figures in general. So it took me a very long time to grasp. And look, let me rephrase that. I am still in process of grasping and connecting with God as Father, because of my daddy wounds and daddy issues. Wild at Heart, John Eldridge. Read the book. I call it the Man Bible. Incredible book on dealing with your masculinity and that father wound, and how to deal with that father wound. And so, and then having spiritual fathers who maybe I had too high of expectations for, because of the fact that they're human, but through their failures or their words of non-encouragement, I'll say, it may not necessarily been discouragement, but through their own insecurities, I don't know how to say this, through their own insecurities enabled my insecurities, is the best way to say it. Hey, son's back. You want to pop back in here for a minute? So he's getting ready to roll to work. So I've just got to a place now, like I said, as a grandpa, and really believing a legacy and passing on to the next generation. I really want to encourage folks in this, I'll just call it show of Biblitics and truth and transparency, and just being raw, being real. And I hope that it'll help some folks. I hope that it'll be an encouragement to you. I hope that you will look. I don't know how long, because I'm outwardly and outspoken about my Christianity. I'm sure that I'll get deboosted and deplatformed and demonetized and all that fun stuff. Hopefully not. Hopefully not. Hopefully that won't happen. But hopefully, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We will be, really working diligently. Hopefully it won't be that difficult, of creating great content for you, and that'll be encouragement to you. And so please share, please comment. Let me know if there's some subject matters that you would like us to tackle, and we can kind of dive down that road and do some deep dives on that. I do want to share some folks that I've already mentioned before that I listen to, but I just want to encourage y'all to check out. I mentioned Dan Bongino, Steven Crowder, Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro, Dennis Prager. Love watching Dennis Prager, PragerU. Candace Owens. That chick is, sorry, I don't mean that. And there it comes. I'm a sexist now. That young lady, I have a farm. I have little chicks around. She's so dynamic. I love listening to Candace Owens. Now, all of these guys, we don't agree on everything, but we have a very common worldview. Charlie Kirk, let's see, who else do I listen to? I love, well, we were just talking about last night at a small group, marriage small group, Pastor, Arizona, Mind's Blank, Jeff Durham, I believe. Jeff Durham. Jeff Durbin. Love watching that guy, man. He is passionate about saving babies' lives out in front of Planned Parenthood, not cussing and screaming at Planned Parenthood employees and ladies that get abortions, but they have literally saved children's lives. They're running around their church. Love watching him. He's really helped me in my approach and how to talk to and connect with folks of opposing views. I watched this one episode. He was talking to this transgender guy. So as I'm sitting here talking about transparency, my son chimes in. He said, "Because I'm not a trans parent, you see." And so, yes, I'm a male. I was born a male. I will die a male. Dave Barton, another one I listened to, Wall Builders out of Texas. He was talking about how they were up in Montana and did this cattle drive, and I think it was some 1,200 cows, and they had to worm or vaccinate I think it was 539 calves, and he had some young people there, and he said, out of 539 calves, never had any trouble whatsoever telling what was a boy and what was a girl. And he said, back in the day, to tell a person's sex, we used to look between the legs, and now we look between the ears. And so, man, it breaks my heart that we've got Hollywood and these people saying, it's like, well, we're going to let our child decide what sex they are. It's like, oh, Father, Lord, help them. Hallelujah. And so I genuinely pray, not just for those people, but I pray for God to give me wisdom on how to respond. Because I can get in the flesh, I can get an attitude, and I'm telling you right now, I will have to apologize a ton in these videos because I'm inside of this. I got this flesh, and sometimes I move in that, and I operate in that. I try not to. I really want to deny the flesh and walk in the Spirit, and to be encouraging and loving and uplifting, and to really put on, I'll put on my armor of God, but put on the robe of righteousness, to have the fruits of the Spirit of love and joy and peace and patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and my personal favorite that I always have to work on, self-control. And so something that I definitely aspire to. And so, but I just know, where's the keys to your car? In them. You can talk. It's okay.
Oh, yeah.
Are you signing off?
Yeah. Gotta go to work.
Oh yeah. Despise not the day of small beginnings. That's what. I asked earlier. You were up there. How much do you weigh?
270.
It's a big boy.
Almost twice the size of him.
All right, so we're going to be doing because there's a lot of Christian cussing that goes on here, but the grandbabies are starting to say, what did Riley say the other day? Holy crap.
Yeah, she said, holy crap.
That's when Jesus went to number 2. Yes. And yeah, so he's talking about we're getting a cussing jar. So,
and I told him I'm gonna give all the stuff in there to the DNC.
Yeah.
That was like, oh.
That'd cure me from Christian cussing quick. So no more freaks and flippins and flappity floops. And so anyway, all right, love you, son.
Love you too.
And so there's gonna be some blooper videos with that. And so that's my transition go-to. That and look up to the left to see if it's up on the left side of my brain or if it's up on the right side of my brain. So anyway, I'm starting to babble now, and so let's think here. Is there anything else I want to tackle before we roll? I mentioned subscribing, notifications bell, talk about content. If you would like to appear, not like magically, but actually show up and do an interview with me on Biblitics, love to have you. People with shared views, people with opposing views. Let's talk. It doesn't have to be here. My little amateur studio here in the dining room kitchen. We'll eventually actually going to be doing a little studio, getting better equipment, getting mics, and my daughter-in-law is actually a professional photographer and does incredible work. She does these really great vlogs, and so looking forward to kind of getting her on board to help with video editing and doing the little double windows so that when we do when I interview or have a chat with some folks that aren't here, and we can do it remote via I guess what would it be, Skype, or I don't think you can FaceTime that, but for the recording. But hallelujah, we'll be working through the technological side of things. So that being said, something y'all can be praying for us. We are in the process of trying to move, looking for property. We live in Alabama, in south of Birmingham here. We've had a little farm here. We've been leasing our property. We've been told that we can no longer have the farm on the leased property. We're sitting on top of millions of dollars of lime. So there's a giant lime plant. Quarry's right over here. They're blasting our way. At 11:55, this place is going to shake because they'll be blasting. And so that's pretty much on point time right there is when they blast. And so that being said, also we had I have been using someone to do our taxes for a long time, and then when I just kind of trusted the folks, and then when I really got into and started looking into details of our tax return, found out they've been scamming us, and through that process, through former employees and other folks, found out that we weren't the only ones. And so I started doing my taxes myself, doing the old TurboTax thing, and having a small company and having W-2s and 1099s and all that fun stuff. I got overwhelmed, and so I've actually got to do some back taxes, which is now holding us up from getting a loan. So that is definitely on my hit list to get done. But I want to get these videos out and get this process going. It's not going to be a daily thing, but I will try to get things out and keep current with what's going on in events, what's going on in our world. Definitely be talking about, Mueller report recently came out. The short abridged version of that is I think the poor guy's a puppet. It's a sad that he's a Vietnam vet, decorated soldier, former FBI director, and man, it's like the dude was clueless as to what was going on in these interviews. And it's incredible to me how unbelievably different opposing views can come from the exact same happening. The viewpoints is just so contrast that all the Democrats heard out of it was, yep, there's collusion and we could charge him, and the only reason we can't because he's the sitting president. And yet, if a Democrat did far greater atrocities than nothing to see here, smoke and mirrors, mainstream media. That, and then you can reach me. I just got the Biblitics.com, Biblitics, Biblitics.com. It's not up yet. I literally just purchased it for the point of doing these videos. So eventually we'll have all the videos on there, try to create some content on there for you to navigate. You can email me at rick@biblitics.com, RICK at BIBLITICS.com. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap things up for today. And comment once again. Let us know what you think about the videos. We will be improving both audio and video with this. I'll also be doing some on remote locations. I drive truck for a living, and so I deliver pine straw. That's right, he's a truck driver, a pastor, a DJ. He's kind of done a little bit of everything. And so, I don't go a lot of different places. I mean, I pretty much stick around Alabama, but I'm actually getting ready to head to Mississippi right now. Occasionally I'll go to Georgia, Florida. Georgia-Florida line. Cruising. I can't remember it. I haven't listened to secular music in so long, which is so good. It's amazing how much more mind space you have when you're not having the world constantly pumped in it. And I'm pretty much done with Hollywood as well. You can't watch anything anymore that's not corrupt with sin and pushing a evil agenda. Let's just go ahead and call it what it is. And so I want to end with this. First of all, we love you guys. Praying for you. Praying God's best for you, whether you believe what I believe or not. Going back to what I was saying before with Aaron is that I get a lot of hatred coming my way, but we love everybody. I love you if you have a different view. I love you if you're an atheist, you're an agnostic, you're a homosexual. If you've had an abortion, I love you. If you wanted to take my guns away, I love you. We love you. And so I think that's really the biggest contrast between when people disagree with me. I don't usually get, man, I love you anyway, you know. And so I have a genuine concern for your eternity. Is the driving force of that love, which is 1 John 4:8 is God. God is love. And it's the God inside of me that gives me that capacity to love. And so going into this election, this is where I want you to think, what I want you to think about. I've got many, many liberal, leftist, and Democrat voting friends. Coming from the Northwest, trust me, there's plenty of them. And I've got many of them that I've gotten a little hate from, and some I've gotten some challenges from, and have shared their disdain for Christianity and my belief systems and my viewpoints. But I'll say this. I believe there are Christians who have traditionally voted Democrat because they justified the social programs of the Democrat Party, which is the Democrat Party is the party of the KKK, of Jim Crow. Abraham Lincoln was the birthplace of the Republican Party. There was this whole thing called the Emancipation Proclamation. Do your studies, learn about history. That's the realities of it. You know, that article said 34 white men voted for the Alabama abortion law. Well, guess what? It was a bunch of white men who decided to free the slaves. So hallelujah. The whole, you know, white privilege, another thing that we'll address. So anyway, the Democrat Party has become so evidently clear on the evil that they stand for. So you as a Christian, I heard this comedian once said, he was a black guy, he says, well, I can't vote Republican because I'm black, but I can't vote Democrat because I'm Christian. Said, well, and that's where I look at, all right, well, which way's leaning which way? Right now, trust me, I want our politicians to be like Jesus said, be hot or cold, don't be in the middle, I'll spit you out. So I don't want you to be a political spitwad, but you need to pick a side. And I believe you're going to be held accountable for your decision. And so, moving over here where the left is, that they believe that murdering a child, now, not only up to the day of birth, but after it's born, y'all, after it's born, to let it die. Tell me how that's not evil. That they want to take away your rights to bear arms, to protect you and your family. That, you know, I mentioned the sexual sin, and I have a heart for the homosexual community. I truly do. I love them. I want to see them set free. Now, you know, and so anyway, buying to that, and homosexual marriage and gay rights. There's a couple other issues. Spend with no accountability. I'm actually, Trump, they better not pass this raising the roof on the spending. That's some bull. That would be definitely going against what he mentioned in the primaries and what he was going to do in his campaign. And so, no vote on raising spending. Deal with what we got. Decrease what we got. You know, and then all the Democrat, their own collusions with the Russian government, and the Obamas and Hillarys and their book deals and their deleted emails and all the corruption that's gone on with the DOJ and with Loretta Lynch and Comey and Clapper and all these guys, man, just all the corruption. And so my prayer has been, God, let justice be served on the good and the evil. And so that's my prayer. And so my prayer for you is that, you would be led of God in how you vote, because you've been given incredible opportunity. Incredible opportunity. Number one, if you were born in America, you're blessed. If you were born in America, you, as the poorest American, are still in the top 1% of the world as far as poverty and economics are concerned. And so the poorest American can go find a church, can go find a home, can go find a shelter to get food, to get clothing. You know, I don't see a whole lot of half-naked homeless folks around. As a matter of fact, I don't see a whole lot of skinny ones either. And so, compassion, absolutely. Love them. I give money. I give food. We just did a deal for our serve day. We went out for a bunch of foster kids. Not to toot my own horn. I'm just being real with y'all. That's what we do, what we're about. We love to serve. We love to give. And so, you know, and I want more so that I can serve and give more. You know, I'm not necessarily, not a prosperity gospel, but the more prosperous I am, the more I can spread the gospel. And so, that good news. And so, all right, guys, I'm going to roll out here. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, notify. Please make some comments. Let me know what your thoughts are on subject matter. And y'all have a great day. Blessings on you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.